Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. Right now it is April of 2021, meaning the channel is 14 months old. In this month's monthly creator update, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Disney news. There has been a ton of Disney news to come out, so we'll touch on Disneyland, Disney World, and a little bit of Disney Vacation Club even. We will also touch a little bit on the channel moving forward, and then of course we will be going over those monthly stats for month 14, as well as an update on the lifetime stats. If you are a small creator or you're interested in some of these behind the scenes types aspects, definitely stay tuned. Hey everyone! For anyone new to my monthly creator update series, basically once a month around the anniversary of the channel, I take some time to talk about whatever I feel like and then we go over the stats. This is my effort to make YouTube a little bit more transparent and sort of give back to the community. Before we dive into the Disney news and stats though, I wanted to touch on one thing first. When I made the Pixie Dust PhD YouTube channel, I claimed the Gmail account and made a Twitter and Instagram. I did the same for a secondary channel. That's called Trying to Have a Life. The thought behind this was that I wanted the Pixie Dust PhD YouTube channel to stay very Disney focused. I do anticipate that I'll work some Universal Orlando stuff in there since when I go down to Disney World, we often go to Universal as well. But generally speaking, this is a Disney focused channel. That being said, I figured if I enjoyed vlogging, I might start doing it more for day-to-day activities that weren't about Disney. And certainly my partner and I don't vacation only to Disney, we do still like to go travel to other parts of the world. So this secondary channel, Trying to Have a Life, would be just lifestyle, vlogging, whatever. There's not really a theme, there's not really focus. It's just that I didn't want that content clogging up the Pixie Dust PhD YouTube channel. That being said, when I started out vlogging, and even to this day, it's honestly kind of a time-consuming thing, and I do have a full-time job. It's relatively demanding, and then I do like to decompress and, watch TV and during non-pandemic times go out and hang out with friends, all that kind of stuff. So I haven't really put any time into this personal vlog per se. I did post my very first video over there though. It's super short, it's under 3 minutes. I will link to it in the description below if you want to check it out. My partner and I live in the Washington, DC metro area, so a few days after peak bloom, we went down to the tidal basin to just look at the cherry blossoms and have a nice walk. I took some footage while I was there. It's definitely not a vlog, I'm not narrating it by any means, but in case you wanted to see what it kind of feels like to walk around the tidal basin, I've got a little bit of footage for you to check out. There's going to be no schedule for the Trying to Have a Life channel, I'm just going to upload, when I feel like it, basically. But definitely in the future, for our non-Disney trips, footage will go up over on that channel. And then for day-to-day stuff, I like painting my nails, and I like to do it somewhat intricately, so I might film that someday and upload it to the channel. And similarly, I really like baking. I have done a few Disney-themed baking videos, and I put those on this channel, but for just general baking, like my favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe, I might throw up on that channel someday. Absolutely, there is no pressure to subscribe or anything, and I'm not using that Twitter or Instagram yet, so you'll still find me at Pixie Dust PhD in general. But if you wanted to check out other aspects of my life, I will leave a link to all of that in the description below. Let's move on to Disney news. Recently, it was announced that out in Aulani and Hawaii that some limited amounts of character dining will be returning to the resort. I believe that's going to start in early May, so that's definitely good news. In DVC news, Blog Mickey reported that Disney actually filed some permits to remove construction offices from what would have been the Reflections site. So there was supposed to be a new Disney Vacation Club coming to Walt Disney World, Reflections, a lakeside lodge. The construction on that's been stopped for quite a while, and now they're even removing the construction offices. Disney hasn't officially said anything, but it seems like, to me, this is the nail in the coffin, and for now, at least, that project is dead. Other DVC news, this is actually not new for this month. We've known, I think since before the last month's creator update, that the Grand Californian, the DVC part, will be opening on May 2nd. However, after we learned about the announcement for the DVC portion of the Grand Californian, I think a couple weeks later, it turns out that the Disneyland Resort is opening up on April 30th. And in fact, the general hotel aspect, not just the DVC part of the Grand Californian, is opening up April 29th. I thought it was really interesting that now the DVC portion's actually delayed instead of being ahead of everything else. But overall, great news for the Californian folks that Disneyland is opening back up. Right now they are restricted to California's tier system, and I don't keep very close track of that news, to be honest. If you're really invested in Disneyland news, go ahead and give a follow to Jim and Crystal at Anaheim Park Tourist. I will leave all their information in the description below. They're all over that Disneyland news, and I would say they have a fairly similar style that I do in that they're sort of straight to the point, they get you the details that you need, and it doesn't go on and on for an unnecessarily long amount of time. If you like my content, you'll surely enjoy Jim and Crystal, so go ahead and subscribe to their channel. But for now, at least Disneyland is only open to California residents, and there will be limited capacity just based on the tier system that they are in. And having a hotel reservation at the Grand Californian does not guarantee you park entry, which is interesting. California officials did announce they're hoping to fully reopen their economy by June 15th, meaning getting rid of that tier system. This is dependent on certain public health measures being met, etc., but that could be a huge step forward in having non-California residents come to Disneyland again. In other Disneyland news, there was this Disneyland Forward expansion, concept artwork released. My understanding is it's not a third theme park, they would just be expanding the current 2 theme parks into land that they already have. I believe it's basically parking lot space. It looks really cool and it's super exciting, but I'm not putting my money on anything because it is just concept art. To my knowledge, Disney hasn't announced that, oh, we're absolutely going forward with this. I think that they are taking advantage of a really interesting political time. Obviously, the economy is hurting very badly right now, and for Disney to announce, hey, we have these plans to expand and bring even more people in here, it's pretty smart. Historically, the relationship between Disneyland folks and sort of the local area, local politics has been not great. And certainly I think Disney is taking advantage of an awesome moment where they can kind of come in and swoop and present themselves as the hero. All in all, the Disneyland Forward project is what Disney could bring to Southern California. I would not bank on any of it at this time. In both Disneyland and Walt Disney World news, Disney announced that they are doing this light refurb to the Jungle Cruise. They are going to refresh some scenes, and supposedly this will be completed in 2021. And interestingly, the attraction won't be fully closed to accommodate this at any time. It sounds like they're just going to install new scenes a little bit at a time, presumably when the park is closed to the guests. Overall, this is an exciting refurbishment, in my opinion, to the Jungle Cruise, and even more excitingly, they're not going to close it for a couple months to get the work done. Moving into just Walt Disney World news now. Magic Mobile has been more or less fully rolled out. So instead of having a Magic Band or a physical card, you can now use your Bluetooth-enabled smartphone. For now, it's only on Apple, so iPhones, and also the Apple Watch, but it is rolling out to Android, I think, within the month. Essentially, this is a digital pass on your phone for park entry and other things you would normally use a Magic Band for. I'm not 100% sure what the current rolled out functionality is, but in theory, in the future, it'll be sort of all-encompassing. It'll be park entry, your room entry if you're staying on property. You should be able to use it for Memory Maker or Photo Pass. So yeah, it's a Magic Band, but instead of a Magic Band, it's your phone. For now, also, it's totally free to use. Magic Bands are now, of course, a charged item. If you stayed on property, you used to receive a complimentary Magic Band. That is no longer the case. Magic Mobile is a great option to have, in my opinion, if you want that free access to all of these things. And I'll probably still keep buying one Magic Band, I would guess. I just like the ease of it, and frankly, my phone battery dies a ton. I don't always have the Bluetooth on, all that kind of stuff. There is an ease and simplicity of the Magic Band to me, and I think if you stay on property, you can buy one of the very basic, just plain color Magic Bands for only $5, I think. To me, $5 is worth that convenience of just having the Magic Band in my bag at all times and knowing that if anything happens to my phone or if it's not working, as phones do sometimes, that at least I have my Magic Band. But I love the redundancy. I love having this backup on my phone. Sometimes my phone's just in my pocket and will be easier to take out to do whatever I need to do instead of dig around for my Magic Band. For reference, I don't wear my Magic Band on my wrist because I actually find it kind of annoying. This is a really neat feature though, incorporating the existing Magic Band RFID technology with something as simple as your phone, which most folks carry into the parks now anyway. I think it's a great quality of life update. And finally, the big Walt Disney World news item, in my opinion, is a change in the face mask policy. You do still have to bring your own face mask and wear it more or less at all times unless you're eating or swimming. This has been true for a while. You can temporarily remove your face mask while you are stationary in order to eat and drink. Now, and this is the new part, you are allowed to temporarily remove your face mask if you are taking an outdoor, socially distanced photo. I have really mixed feelings about this one. On the one hand, I think it'll make cast members' lives a lot easier to not have to track down these guests who are constantly whipping their mask off to take a photo real fast. I'm sure that had a lot of unpleasant interactions result for cast members, and honestly, I'm all for protecting them. That being said, it certainly is a slippery slope. I mean, think about, for example, all the vloggers that go down to Walt Disney World. When will they have to have their masks on then? The part where it seems hard to enforce gives me pause. Also, so this is already happening. I believe it began on April 8th. They could have just waited even a month, and within that time, I think a lot more folks would have been vaccinated. While I am concerned about the general guests, at the same time, I am mostly concerned about cast members. I feel fairly confident looking at Florida's numbers that not every single cast member who wants to get vaccinated would have had the opportunity before April 8th to be fully inoculated. Give it another month or so, and I think the percentage of your cast members who are fully inoculated is going to jump quite a bit. It is a step back towards normalcy, which I think everyone is excited about, but it just feels a tad premature to me. Additionally, why couldn't they begin with something more enforceable like just only outside PhotoPass locations? Leaving it up to just general outdoor socially distanced pictures, well, that's gonna be a crapshoot if you ask me. The other thing I think they could have done is way more quietly change the rule instead of have this huge media blitz about it, or just tell your cast members, like, you don't have to enforce this anymore. I think having this news hit so widely, so publicly, it was a really big splash on Disney Twitter. People are going to take advantage. It's almost certain. That's human nature, especially in America. If the intent was about the cast members, then I think you just tell them, and not the media, and not the public, that, hey, I know we have this rule, but, don't go out of your way to enforce it unless you see something really egregious now. Then officially change the rule and do the media blitz, a month or 6 weeks later when most of your cast members are vaccinated and a lot more of the public is also vaccinated. I absolutely want to make cast members' lives easier, but I do think this was a little early and could have been executed in a different manner. That was a brief overview of some of the huge news that hit just in the last month. Let me know if I missed any big news stories and what you think about them. Moving on, let's talk about this channel a little bit before we jump into analytics. As my fall 2021 trip to Walt Disney World is approaching, I am getting more excited about Walt Disney World topics again. Originally on this channel, it was kind of every other video was DVC versus Walt Disney World, and then I think around month 8 or so, I really started diving deep into Disney Vacation Club, and there wasn't nearly as much Walt Disney World content on the channel anymore. Since I've been planning my trip, there's been a little bit more Walt Disney World content coming through, but I'm just giving you a warning that I think for a little bit, the DVC heavy days of the channel are probably over. I am probably going to return to talking more about Walt Disney World topics as my trip comes up, and I am getting excited and I'm missing these places and I'm planning stuff. For example, I'll almost surely do a video covering Trader Sam's over at the Polynesian pretty soon. I'm not abandoning the Disney Vacation Club content by any means, but I do think I've pretty thoroughly gone over most of the basics, most of what I wanted to achieve, and now I'm having to reach for some more niche topics. I am planning eventually on covering the other DVC resorts, but that is going to take quite a lot of research from me. And I will be doing a Disney Vacation Club break-even video. I have been putting this off because there are probably literally hundreds of ways to calculate a break-even. I think I finally decided that I'm just going to keep it simple. I think that the simple models demonstrate the overall aspect of the DVC argument well enough. Look for that break-even video. It's going to be a little bit more of a math-intensive video. I think it'll end up coming in June, so not the next month, but the one after. As always, if there are topics that you want me to cover, definitely leave a comment down below and I will try to do my best. The Disney Disability Access Program at Walt Disney World is still on my list. I think I've said this before in these videos, but it just takes quite a lot of research to get a handle on that. Particularly, if there are any Disney Vacation Club topics you think would benefit from having more explanation in the style I tend to do things, definitely let me know. Okay, let's get into the month 14 analytics for the channel. I am recording this video on April 10th. The way that YouTube Analytics works is you can only see the stats from the day before. This means I don't have data from today, the 10th. The first video I posted was on February 10th, 2020, so this is my benchmarking day for what the month is, and I usually would include the 10th. But in this case, data I will be showing you today is from March 11th through April 9th. Also note, YouTube Analytics had some sort of hiccup and data from March 20th is currently unavailable. So this month's worth of data is technically 2 days less than the other months that I typically show you, but it'll be close enough. In month 14, I received over 4,000 total views on the channel, almost at 4,100 in fact, and these came from over 2,500 unique viewers. It really blows my mind that there are 2,500 different people watching my content out there, or at least different devices. Of those 2,500 viewers, 250 were returning viewers, so about 10%. Thanks to everyone for coming back. All of these views and viewers resulted in over 400 hours of watch time this month, so it is a little bit higher than last month, not by a lot, but I will take any increase I can get. View duration did dip this month compared to last month. We were at just over 6 minutes on average. And of course, percent viewed then also dipped. We're under 40% for the first time in quite a few months, and I am a little bit disappointed, but there's not a ton I can do about that, honestly. If you have any advice for the beginning parts of your videos being more engaging and getting people to stick around for a longer time, definitely let me know. In month 14, we got over 55,000 impressions, which is pretty huge if you ask me, but only about 25% of those impressions were from YouTube recommending my content. 25% alone is fine and I'm happy with it. It's just definitely a dip down from the past 2 months, which is a little bit disappointing. And as I've said before, I think those impressions from YouTube are incredibly important. Case in point, this month, over 300 of my total watch hours came from those impressions. All in all, that's 3/4 of the total watch time. So this is why I get a little squirrely with my impressions from YouTube decreasing this month. Watch time from those not subscribed jumped up to over 73%. It was around 70% for the past 2 months. For this particular stat, you actually want to see a lower number. That means more folks that are watching are subscribing to the channel. As we all know, though, converting folks to subscribers is one of the hardest aspects of YouTube. But in good news, I did get 48 new subscribers this month, which is a pretty huge number. For just a single month, on average, more than 1.5 people a day subscribing to the channel. That's great. I'm super happy with that. I did also want to briefly mention that for month 14, my top 5 videos again are a mix of Walt Disney World and Disney Vacation Club content. This is ranked by watch hours. Interestingly, my photo pass video did the best this month. I'm very surprised because I think that information is pretty widely available and very covered. I don't think I necessarily added anything new to that conversation. Moving to other social media briefly. On Twitter, I now have 685 followers and I'm following 736 accounts. A couple months ago, I said I was going to make a concerted effort to start following more accounts on Twitter and seeing if I felt like I could still handle it and interact with the people I wanted to and scroll through my timeline and not feel overwhelmed. So far, we're doing okay. I am going at a slow pace though to make sure that I am still able to actually genuinely interact with folks. Over on Instagram, I now have 164 followers and I'm following 272 accounts. In exciting news for me, I am back on Instagram. Just a few days ago, less than a week ago really, I decided I was going to try Instagram again. I posted a funny blooper, well I think it's funny anyway, of an upcoming video over on Instagram. I think that might be a good way to use the platform. I'm going to continue to post old pictures from my prior trips and other fun Disney related things I see around in day-to-day life, but I think posting bloopers and outtakes on Instagram is a good outlet for me. There are always bloopers and outtakes from the videos, especially when I do them with my partner, and I've never really known what to do with them. I've thought about just making one long compilation video on YouTube, but that seems like a pain in the butt, honestly, and not worth it. I do put genuine effort to try to make what I'm posting on Instagram different than what I'm posting on Twitter, different than what I'm posting on YouTube. But posting the YouTube bloopers on Instagram seems like a good way to connect the two. We will see how long I'm active on Instagram. I'm not holding my breath, but I am actually trying again. I'm giving it a shot, so here we go. On to the lifetime stats. We are almost at 19,000 total views now. I think this is a really good sign that unless something terrible happens in the next month, we should break 20,000 lifetime views next month, which I am really excited about. This amount of views for lifetime puts us at almost 1,900 total watch hours. So similarly, unless something goes very poorly next month, I think we should break 2,000 total watch hours next month. Lifetime view duration this month increased by 2 whole seconds, so we are now hovering at just under 6 minutes on average view duration. But the average view percentage did drop. That's not really surprising, seeing that this month the monthly view duration dropped pretty huge, so now we're at 42.2% average view duration. Again, I'd really like to see this go up. In my heart of hearts, I would love this to be at 60% or higher. I don't know if that's possible. I think that's just not how YouTube works. We are almost at 250,000 total impressions lifetime for the channel, which definitely blows my mind. And the lifetime percentage of impressions coming from YouTube did increase a little bit this month. We are at 24.6%. So even though the monthly went down by about 5%, on average, just because I am reaching a wider audience now, the overall lifetime for the channel is still increasing, which is great. Watch time from those not subscribed did go up though, and again, up in this case is bad. We want to see this one go down. We want to convert watchers to subscribers. It didn't go up by a ton. We're at 69%, but it's fine. And finally, we now have 366 subscribers. If I am lucky, I think we can break 400 next month, but we will see. Overall, the stats were kind of a mixed bag comparing month 14 to month 13. There were several stats that did worse this month than last month, which is never really what you want, but I try not to get hung up on it. Certainly overall, I think the trends are still strong. I still feel like I'm growing my audience. I know I'm reaching more people thanks to that unique viewer stat. The channel is definitely not for everyone. It's really for type A's, like high executive functioning folks. I talk fast. We talk a lot about information. It's not like a fun channel by any means. So I know it's not for everyone, and I'm guessing that's why I don't get a lot of subscribers. But I love that information heavy content, and I'm not planning on straying away from that anytime soon. Hopefully when I do get to travel again, I can take some type of vlog footage. I don't have a vlogging camera. There's no external microphone, so I don't think it'll be a traditional vlog by any means, but it would be fun to put together like a trip video. I definitely think following my trip to Walt Disney World, assuming we do end up going in the fall, I will have some more lighthearted, less information heavy content to put on the channel. Maybe I'll reach a broader audience then, and maybe more folks will subscribe. But until then, I'm gonna keep doing me. I created this channel for a reason. The About tab even says something along the lines of prepare for my fast talking. If I wanted to cover information in the same 45-minute segment as every other YouTuber or every other podcaster, I wouldn't have made a channel to begin with. Overall, thanks for another great month on YouTube. Wish me luck with next month in hitting, hopefully, 400 subscribers, and realistically, I do think we can break 2,000 watch hours. If you want to help the channel out, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button to like the video, and then consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. If you want notifications whenever I upload, go ahead and ring that bell icon. I hope you all are staying safe, healthy, and well, and we'll see you next time at Pixie Dust PhD.